Fornav Coffee Break. My name is René Brummel. I'm a product specialist at Fornav, and I will be your presenter today. As this coffee break is live, you can ask your questions via the GoToWebinar question window. We will answer them at the end of the coffee break. Today, we're going to explain how to build Business Central email templates with personalized content. In daily business operations, every customer interaction matters. Whether sending a sales quote, confirming an order, delivering an invoice, or following up via email, companies need to include messages that are clear, relevant, and tailored to the recipient. This can also be an opportunity to highlight a relevant promotion or introduce complementary products or services, turning simple routine communication into a subtle, value-adding upsell or cross-sell touchpoint. Fornav personalized content allows you to add customized text, images, tables, Business Central data, and other content directly in Business Central documents and emails, all without coding. This helps ensure communications are relevant, consistent, and tailored to each recipient. As a result, you turn your customer touchpoints into professional, personalized, and revenue-driving interactions. To demonstrate building email templates, I'm going to use these steps. Prerequisites: what do I need to get going? In step 2, I will set up email templates. In step 3, I will override the default email addresses. In step 4, I will use master email addresses. Let's start with the first step. Today, I will be working on a Business Central on-premise server with the Business Central 2025 Wave 2 release. I've installed the Fornav customizable report pack, and I've executed a step-by-step wizard from the assisted setup to get started. Of course, everything I do today will also work in a cloud environment. The first thing we will do is add an email body to our sales quote where we greet our customer and thank them for their business. Let's go to Business Central. We've expanded the Fornav menu items with the email templates. So I'll open them and hit New. Create a simple sales quote in English. And language is not mandatory. It always defaults back to, if you leave it empty, it will use this as the default for all of the languages. In this case, I'll use English. Then I'll use my email scenario. If I leave it on default, I can choose any table in the Business Central database, which may be useful for custom situations where you have tables that are not connected to any email scenarios. In this case, I'm just going to use the sales quote scenario, and that will automatically fill the source table with table number to 36, which is the sales header. That's all I need to do in the basics. The next step is to edit the HTML, and in the HTML editor, I can edit my email subject. Where I can say something like, this is quote for, if I use the block quote, the block marks, I get the I get the caption for the table, so I get the sell to customer number caption. If I use the curly bracket, then I get the actual field value. So in this case, my subject says this is quote number for, and then the caption for the sell to customer number, and then the actual sell to customer number. So that's the basics on how to add the email subjects. To add the email content, I will do some quick typing and paste some text from my Word document. Now it says word paste detected. In this case, I'm going to go with a clean formatting because I want to set up my formatting myself. If you want to keep the word formatting, obviously you click keep. And the first thing I do, what I find easiest, is change my formatting, change my font, change my text color, because once I've added my text replacements, that it doesn't really get harder, but I just find this easier. Then I can change my text replacement, so it says salutation here. I can add my curt text salutation. The curt text is a table we've added with some basic bits and bobs like the salutation, like username and that sort of thing. So add that one. The next one is the quote number. which is the base table number. And then we have the valid date, which is the quote valid to date. We get salesperson. Now things get a little bit trickier, because if I add a salesperson, I can find my salesperson code, but not the name, and I would really like the name. So I'll stick in code for now, but we'll get back to that one. Then we get the username, which, as I said, is in the curt text table. So use curt text.username. And then I get the email address, which is the curt text user email address. And delete the rest. Now I said I would come back to the salesperson code. I would really like the salesperson name, and I can do that. I just need to tell Business Central where to find it. So I'll open my related tables, and in my related table I will add a salesperson, which I will link to table 13, salesperson purchaser, and then I need to tell for now how to get the content from this table. So I need to link the reference to the base table, which is the sales header, and then I need to add a table relation, which of course I need to link the code field to the salesperson code field in the base table. Hit close on that one, go back to our HTML editor. Now you can see that all of these text replacements, they are grayed out, the background is gray, and if I hit backspace, I can't easily delete them. If you hit Control backspace, it will actually delete the text. And we've made this non-editable because you don't want to add changes in formatting in the middle of one of these text replacements. It will pretty much destroy the text replacement and the formatting of your email body. Now I can find my salesperson name, and that finishes my email template body. Hit close on this one. To test it, we've added a simple preview email button where I can use quote. I have quote 1001. Hit OK, and you can see that I have a subject field and I have the text, and my text replacements have been made. So I get my salutation, I get my quote number, my valid until date, my salesperson name, and of course my name and my email address. You don't need to do anything else. As soon as you have an email template in your system, when we create a template create an email from Business Central, hit send by email, ForNav will automatically check if there is an email template that matches the requirements. So it matches language, it matches the start end date, it matches all of the filters you have in the system. And if it finds it, it will create the email for you. So we have the subject that we've added, and we've got the message that we have added. Now we've added an email body, we can determine to whom we send it. The email templates for sales documents give us some flexibility in these email addresses. So let's see what happens on this quote. When we print send it, we use the default Business Central addressing, which is them@candoxi.com, which is weird because the quote is for Eghorn Airport. And what happens is that I have a different bill to customer. So I'm billing this to Candoxi Canada, but I'm selling it to Mr. Ryan Danner at Eghorn Airport. So I would really like this quote to be sent to Mr. Ryan Danner with a CC to Mr. Rob Young. Fortunately, ForNav lets me do that. So I open my email template again, expand my email addresses, and in there, for all of the sales documents, I can fill in manual email addresses, and I can change the to address source and the CC and the BCC as well. So I can say my to address source is going to be sell to, and this is going to find the contact first. If there's no contact, it's going to default back to the company email address. CC is going to be bill to, and I want to send a BCC to sales at our company.com. Hit preview, for our document quote. If I leave the number empty, it will simply find the first quote in my system. And you can see 2 is going to be Mr. Ryan Denner, Mr. Rob Young, and sales@ourcompany.com. And of course, when we try that from the actual quote, we get the same thing. Our email is now sent to Mr. Ryan Denner, which is who I actually want to send the email to. Finally, I may want to add some data and a logo from the company information table. And in fact, I want to add that information to all of my sales bodies. And in this case, I can use a master email template. Master email templates are nothing magical. It is simply a new email template. So I'm going to create a new email template and say sales master in English. Language, of course, is going to be English. In this case, in the email scenario, I choose the master template. And of course, I could build a master template on the sales invoice, but in that case, my master template is going to be used whenever I email it to the sales invoice. I don't want that. I don't want my master template to ever be used unless when I tell it to. So I'm going to call it master template. It does mean I need to fill in my source table number manually. So I'll hook that into the sales invoice header. It works pretty much like any other 4NAV report that you would build. I'm going to leave the email addresses and I will leave the subject as well. You could use a master subject from a master email template. In this case, I am just going to add some company information stuff in a table. Set this table to be 100% wide. And I'll do the same thing as I did before. So company name, address, and email, and this is going to be the logo. Then I'll do my formatting first. So go back to Verdana in green to match our other email address. I get my company information name. There we go. I get the company information address. And then I want the company email, the company homepage, and I want that as a link. Now I could, of course, just add the homepage, but in this case, we don't really have a way of detecting if this contains a valid hyperlink or not. And beside that, hyperlinks can have some more information. So we've added a specific hyperlink toolbox where we can create a link based on data from the database. So I'm going to use my company information homepage value, curly brackets is value, as the value of the link. Then is the alternate text of the link. I'm also going to use homepage, and I'm going to specify open the link in a new window. Click insert link, that creates the link, and delete the homepage, and that's all I need to do. Finally, I need to add the logo from my company information. And again, just using company information.picture, it is not going to give me enough information. Again, logos can add more information than just the actual image. So I'm going to tell the Business Central template to get an image from the Business Central database. I can select an image field, and you can see here that I get a list of all of the block fields and media fields that are in my connected to my data set. I'll choose the company information.picture and hit insert, and that it inserts a picture placeholder for me, which I can change in size. By default, it will use the size of the actual picture, and I want it to be specified a specific width. And if I leave the height on automatic, it will keep the aspect ratio. And then, of course, I can go back to my insert image toolbox and say, oh, my alternate text is going to be the logo. And I can add an hyperlink and specify hyperlink open in a new window as well. Click on the insert image again to update it. That's all I need to do here. Let's preview it. And that looks fine. I have my logo, I have my homepage, which is an actual hyperlink, and I have my name and address. The next step is to add this to my sales quote. And to do that, the first thing I need to do is add my master template, which is an email template. And I'm going to connect this email template to my base table because the email, the master template is also built on a sales document, on a sales record. And all of these sales records have more or less the same field. So I can simply connect them there. I can also create a master email template based on the company information, for instance. And in that case, I could hook it into the company information or any other table in my data set. And in the table relation, I need to specify which template I'm going to use. So I'll use a constant value and I will use the sales master English in this case. Hit close. That gets me my master record, which means in my email HTML, I can get stuff from my master email template, like the email content and the email subject and anything else that you could possibly want. Add that one there. Preview. And there our master template has been added to our email preview. Of course, if you email it from the quote, it will get added as well. One final thing I would like to show you, because obviously I want to add this master text to a sales invoice as well, and I don't want to redo all of my table relations and everything. We can simply hit copy. To the sales invoice English. The new email scenario is going to be sales invoice, and the new description sales invoice English. And that quite simply copies my email template to the sales invoice English. You can see that the source table number is 112 in this case, because that's a source table for the posted sales invoices. And all of the email content and the related tables are all copied for us, which means if I preview this, all of my text replacements work apart from the valid until. The valid until is not a field that exists on the sales invoice, on the posted sales invoice. So it simply gets ignored in this case. Let's recap what we just did. We found that we could add a new email template to easily create email body text for our Business Central communication. We could add new related tables to get data from any table inside Business Central. The email address fields gave us an option to override the standard Business Central email addressing, so we can send invoices to bill to contacts instead of the default sell to contacts. And finally, we created a new master template, so we can use the same email text on multiple text templates. We use the insert link and insert image fields to add hyperlinks and images based on fields in the Business Central database. Thank you very much for listening to me so far. I can see we have no questions, so I'm going to wrap up this coffee break. If you want to know more about 4nav, or if you want to download the 4nav toolbox, please visit our website. If you want to install 4nav in Business Central Cloud, please visit Microsoft AppSource. You can watch more videos about 4nav on our YouTube channel. And if you have any questions about 4nav, please email them to support@4nav.com. For a full list of upcoming and recorded coffee breaks, please visit 4nav.com/coffeebreak. And with that, thank you very much for joining me today, and goodbye.